So here's a good framework for how to live your life to optimize for success. It's something that I personally have been working on myself. It's something that I've been trying to cultivate in my own mind as well. And I want to share it with you because it is just a different perspective on life. And it's a different way to go about situations and look at certain situations and scenarios that happen in your life. It is to say that with every mistake you make, with everything that goes wrong, that you're still standing, the world is spinning, and you're still okay, right? That's kind of the basic premise of it. You can do something and you say something awkward, let's say. Let's like take the example of awkwardness. A lot of people have fears of just being awkward, and that's something that stops them, and I myself fall victim to it at times as well. You're awkward. You say something awkward to someone or you do something awkward and then you walk away from the situation or the interaction. You feel that like grossness. You feel that little like, ugh, like what did I just say? Like that was stupid. What the hell am I doing? Right? You feel that feeling. Sometimes that feeling sticks with you for longer than you want it to. But when you're in that moment of that feeling, you realize, first of all, the person doesn't really care because they have things going on in their life. They're not going, most of the time, they're not going to be judging you for it anyway. Things come and go in life. That's the truth. You also learn that things come and go, and people will forget about everything that you said or everything that you ever did within maybe a few days at most, few weeks at most. And nothing, and like even if you're like a famous, ultra famous person, most people will forget everything that happened to you in just a few weeks, especially with the current news cycles and social media and all that stuff. But even in like the smaller scale, which is like you talked to someone, you had like a job interview, and you said something awkward, you're not going to get the job. But instead of beating yourself up for it, you realize, okay, you're probably never going to see this person again. That's all right. You're still standing, you're still here, you're still living, and you still have the chance to go again. So instead of letting those feelings take you over and limit you from taking the next action, you go and apply to other jobs. You then go to other interviews and you learn from those mistakes instead of letting it kind of take you over. It's a tough feeling, right? That feeling of awkwardness, that feeling where you made that mistake, that exact mistake that you didn't want to do, that you didn't want to make. You didn't want to have those fears, you didn't want to have those nerves, but you still let them overcome you. It makes you just kind of want to curl up in a ball in the corner and not talk to anyone, right? It makes you kind of just want to isolate yourself. But that's like the biggest trap. Like that is the biggest trap because the truth is, you're still alive. You're still here. The world is spinning. People's lives didn't change because of what you said or what you did. They're moving on with their lives, so you ought to move on with yourself as well. You ought not to be so hard on yourself, literally falling into shame. Like that curling up in the corner is literally shame at its worst form, at its highest level. You ought not to do that, right? If in life these things came and went, right? Even if it's 5 minutes in the past, even if it's 10 minutes in the past, an hour in the past, and you're still lamenting on this, you're still focusing on things in the past. You're still clinging to things from the past. Even if the thing just happened, in life, that thing came and went, right? The people that you talked to, the people that you kind of said that weird thing to or did that weird thing to, whatever it may have been, it came and went. They probably forgot about it as well. So you ought to forget about it as well. Your feelings also need to come and go. You need to let it and release it and let it leave you because once you let it sit with you, once you get so kind of caught up in the mistake you made and in the regret and whatever about the mistake you make and you spiral out of control thinking about what you could have done better and all that stuff, it prevents you from taking action. It prevents you from taking action towards the next thing. And the next thing is, okay, you made the mistake. That's fine. That's okay. Let's see what we can do on the next opportunity in the next attempt. I give the example of a job interview because that's something that recently happened in my life as well. That yes, if you fail in the job interview, you can go and try again. You can try again. You can move forward, apply to other places, and go again. If it's in any other situation, I don't know, like if it's a business meeting or like in a sports scenario and you say something dumb, it's like it doesn't matter. The point is it's like you need to really release yourself from your own feelings and from your own shame because the truth is other people don't care. Like you might be so embarrassed and so ashamed for something you said or you did, but people don't care. That's the point. And it's like so then the question is, well, why are you shameful other than the fact that like you could be fearful of other people's judgment, but people don't care. So why are you shameful other than the fact that it's just you in your own mind? I've talked about many times the only limitations are in your own mind. And yes, if you think about trying not to make the mistake and you think so hard about not making the mistake, you're going to make the mistake, right? If you're trying so hard to not do something, you're going to do it. And that was something that I developed when I was playing football, when I was playing soccer, when I was in the midst of that, because I know that that's the case. That's actually a very good philosophy for life in general. If you think about not making the mistake, you're thinking so hard about just trying your best just to walk the line and do all that stuff, you will make that exact mistake that you're trying to avoid. Whereas if you just are loose, right? You're loose, you're not fearful, you have a lot of faith, you go into it, you're not nervous, you're confident, then you can go in and you can pretty much attack every situation and be confident in every situation, be formidable in every situation, competent in every situation, and that will allow you to truly go and make it happen in life, right? And achieve that success. And I think that's a mindset that you need to have, that if you make a mistake, you do something wrong, you fail in some way, it can be something as small as that awkwardness, that gross feeling that comes with it, or it can be like maybe on a bigger scale. You know that it came and went. That situation, it came and went. You might not ever talk to those people ever again, but if you do talk to those people again, you will have the chance to make amends. And also, they probably forgot about it anyway. So you ought to forget about it as well, and you ought to move on with yourself. At times, it's much harder for us to move on with ourselves, right? Sometimes it's easy to forgive other people, but it's harder to actually forgive ourselves. It's easy to say, okay, this guy, he said something wrong to me. He kind of hurt me in some way, but he apologized and he really felt bad for it, so I forgive him. And in a few weeks, you forget about it anyway. Again, you forget about their thing. But it's harder for you to forgive yourself. You said something awkward or something weird or whatever to someone else, and it was like a weird feeling, and you kind of hate yourself for it, and you want to curl up in a ball and cry. Or you did something bad, you made a bigger mistake, whatever, in the workplace, in the business, in the sporting situation, in the school, in whatever interaction, your relationships with people, romantic relationships or friendships. Maybe you made some mistake in some way that might be a little bit bigger. But yeah, the point is, like, the other person will probably forgive you quicker than you'll forgive yourself. They'll either forgive you or they'll just plain forget about the situation anyway because they have stresses in their life that they're dealing with. But you need to learn to forgive yourself. You need to learn to give yourself a little bit more grace because it's like, okay, you made the mistake. What can you do better? Instead of just sitting there lamenting, spiraling out of control, and letting those feelings take you over, it's just stopping you from taking the action, right? It's just stopping you from improving, from learning from the mistake that you made, learning from that awkward interaction that you had. But I don't know what it is about us as humans. Like, it is just like you want to do everything possible to not be awkward and to not be weird, right? So it's like that will cause you to just, like, you're on, even some of the symbols, like you're on the bus, right? You're going to work, and someone's like talking to people, and like someone's like an extrovert, right? They're that type of person that just talks to you. It's rare nowadays, but you feel weirded out about them talking to other people. But it's like, why should you feel weirded out by that? Like, that is kind of the human nature, to be social creatures, but we all just kind of want to do everything possible to not be awkward. So we're all just kind of in our own thing, listening to our music and trying to be as separated and isolated from everyone else on that bus as possible as well. Right? You don't want to ever bridge that gap because it's just opening the door to some level of awkwardness. And that is kind of a big fundamental problem with all of us. So you do everything possible to not feel awkward, but then you'll probably still say that thing that is awkward anyway, right? And then, of course, that's why you don't want to feel awkward, so then you feel awkward, and then you feel that feeling, and you're just like, ugh, right? You don't want to do that thing ever again. But to succeed in life, you're going to have to try, fail, fall flat on your face, do that thing again, feel awkward, understand that those feelings come and go, and that you need to move forward, right? Everything in life comes and goes. All feelings will pass, right? It might be something that sticks with you maybe for a couple of days, but then eventually it will pass. So why do you have to be fearful of that thing? Why do you have to let that thing hurt you? Instead, have that growth mindset. Instead, constantly think about the better thoughts. The fact that people don't really care, that you're probably not going to see these people ever again, that you're still alive, you're still standing, life's still good. You're not dead, you're not in danger, you have perfect health. There are many things to be thankful for. Gratitude's a great way to kind of getting your mind back right, of course. And the world keeps spinning, right? Your small situations is nothing in comparison to like the world and the universe and all the things that happen. You're the tiniest microcosm and the tiniest little speck. So it shouldn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Like, factually, whatever situation happened doesn't matter. So why are you so focused on it still? Why are you letting that thing stop you from continuing to move forward? Why does it matter so much to you and your heart, and it's harder for you to forgive yourself than it is for you to forgive others, than it is for you to realize that it doesn't matter and you move forward in life? So that's the framework. That is the framework. That is the idea. And like, to kind of summarize it and put it into like, something that's a little bit more digestible. Obviously, this was maybe like 10, 15 minute episode breaking down the idea behind this and the concepts behind this. The idea is very simple. It's the fact that every single thing that happens in your life, you can feel those bad feelings. But truly, in the actual situation, all things come and go. All feelings will pass, but you only have one shot at this thing called life. So are you going to let those feelings sit for longer than they need to? Or are you going to make the decision to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts and growth mindset and actually move forward to achieve successes, to learn from the mistakes, to put yourself in those situations again, despite you're feeling awkward in the past. Put yourself in the situations again, fail and improve and learn from the mistakes and do better. So realize that the world keeps spinning, that your life is still the same, even if you feel that feeling and you're in that moment where you're just like, you just don't want to do anything else, you don't want to say anything else, you don't want to talk to anyone else, you just want to curl up and cry in the corner, right? You feel that feeling. Just know that's just internal. It is all just you. You need to give yourself more grace and realize that the world keeps spinning, that your life is still good, and that if you're going to ever achieve anything, you need to let these feelings come and go as quickly as the situation came and went. You need to let those feelings leave you and replace them with kind of growth ideas versus letting them stay with you and causing them to limit you in your potential. So as humans, we're feeling creatures. Like, we like to feel, and of course we let feelings dictate what we do so often. And of course that's why there's this common internet theme, which is the F your feelings, right? Forget about your feelings, instead just do what you need to do. And I think for me in my life, at least, I need to take a page out of that book, and I think I need to just lock in. But for you, it's like you can feel the thing, but then you recognize and you can combine emotion with logic to say you feel awkward, you feel bad, you feel the failure, you feel the pain from it, whatever it may look like, however it may feel. Again, I described it many times as the curling up in the corner. You just want to not do anything or not say anything to anyone ever again, right? How quickly can you let that feeling pass? Because the situation that happened is done. It's over. It's not going to happen again. Something different is going to come up. You're going to talk to different people. The other people will probably forget about what you went through and what you told them, what you said to them that was awkward. They'll forget about it and you'll move on. So can you move on as quickly as everyone else moves on? And if you can do that, then the potential for what you can achieve is endless, because that means that you're able to overcome those mistakes and failures quickly. The quicker you can do it, the quicker you'll get back into the scene, get back into the action, and make great things happen and overcome those failures, overcome those feelings, and have more grace for yourself to go and be fearless, faithful, and not let those things kind of overwhelm you. So that is the framework, that is the idea. And one final thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to this framework is belief in God. When you trust in yourself, and when you're trusting in your own competence, in your own ideas, in your own structure, you will fail. You trusting in your own plan, you will fail. You go in and you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, it's going to be great, it's going to be amazing. It won't happen the way that you want it to. You're trying your best to make it happen in that exact way. You're trying your best to avoid that mistake. You will make that mistake because your plan is nothing. You need to truly submit to God. And if you submit to God and you walk into every room truly remembering God and truly remembering the strength that He gives you and leaning on Him rather than on yourself, that is the way that you can actually maybe avoid some of those mistakes. But you don't do it by just thinking about things yourself, right? It's if you understand that you can submit to God, that it is not just about you, and that you have a God that is out there that is willing to help you during these tough situations, during these awkward moments, to bring it back, to do better, and to overcome it, and to avoid it, and to be strong and competent and confident in those moments, in those situations of life, then you can truly achieve anything. You can truly achieve anything. I think that is like the ultimate secret, is that if you have a faith that is that great, if you believe in God and you let God take over, and you truly walk into the room and you truly are remembering, and in the moment you're remembering, okay, it's not about me. If I focus on what I do, it's going to be terrible. Let's let God take over. Let's let the Holy Spirit take over. And if you truly walk into rooms thinking that, it'll be amazing. And you will probably avoid making some of those mistakes. You might still make some of those mistakes, but it becomes more manageable because you realize that you're not alone on this journey. You realize that you're not alone fighting against these things. And then if you truly have God with you in your heart, you can truly achieve many amazing things. You truly overcome all of these feelings, and you can truly walk into rooms with that godly confidence that can truly allow you to be formidable in any situation that you fall into, basically. So that's, I think, maybe like the secret of how it all works. That's like, it's like the framework that I've talked about, that yes, when things happen, your life is still the same. You still have food on the table. You still have a roof over your head. You're still alive. You're still healthy. And you're still okay. You're still good to go. So you can go and remove that feeling from you. Let the feeling come and go, and let the feeling pass quickly, just as quickly as the situation passed. But perhaps you cannot ever do any of that on your own. And to actually improve, if you give it up to God, He will produce many amazing fruits. He will execute His plan in the greatest way possible. It'll be the most beautiful thing. And God has so many things planned for you in your life that you don't even realize. So when you're focused on your own self, your own plan, that's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're probably not going to live up to it. And it is probably going to lead you into those exact kind of fears and stuff that hinder you from reaching your potential. But you give it up to God, and you let God walk in front of you whenever you walk into rooms, and you let God kind of be in the forefront of everything that you say, everything that you think about. That is the power. That is truly the power of the Holy Spirit to help you truly move forward in the greatest, most beautiful way. So that's probably the other secret, is it's like, the only way you'll be able to overcome those fears is through faith. Of course, you overcome those fears with faith. You overcome those hindrances, those awkward feelings, those embarrassing feelings, those kind of those feelings where you feel like other people are mad at you, but really they're not as mad at you as you might think. You overcome those feelings by realizing that God is with you through it all, that He is helping you, that you're not alone, and that you have the chance to do better and to overcome it, and that you can never actually ever do it on your own. That if you kind of rely on your own plan, it will lead you down those exact negative pathways, those pathways towards failure, those pathways towards fear, and towards that exact awkwardness, that exact curling up in a ball in the corner. But if you trust in God, you can realize that, okay, if a thing does go wrong, you can move forward, and it's a beautiful thing. God still loves you. He's still there with you, and He's still granting you that strength every day, that courage to do better. If you submit to Him, you will truly overcome all of those feelings. And you will learn to have grace for yourself as well, to have grace in yourself, to not be shameful, to not be fearful, and to truly go out there and be formidable and fearless and achieve every amazing thing that you can ever imagine, and then some, because of course God's plan for you is something truly great. So I did want to add that part to this whole framework, this whole theory as well, that it becomes easier. It just becomes easier. It's less of a burden on your shoulders when you realize that you are not alone on this journey. When you realize that even if you make the mistake, you're not alone in the battle to overcoming it, the battle to doing better. And it's such a peaceful feeling. It's such a beautiful thing. And it is such a strengthening, powerful feeling that if you can truly have that thought on your mind throughout your entire day, it can lead you down very, very beautiful things and beautiful paths, instead of the negative path, which is, of course, the lamenting, the focusing on the past, the fearing, the future, all that stuff. But if you give it up to God, you submit to Him, you realize that it's not just you, then God will work in you the beautiful things that He has planned for you, which are, again, so much greater than anything you have planned for yourself. So I myself sometimes struggle with this, and then that's why I fail. I know for a fact that in the recent times that I have failed and that I have felt those exact feelings of awkwardness, it is exactly because I was trying to do too much, right? I was focusing too much on myself. I was focusing too much on the situation instead of focusing on God. If I'm focused on God, the situation becomes easy. It becomes lightened. But if I focus on the situation too much, and I focus on the fears too much, and on the mistakes too much, trying not to make the mistakes too much, trying not to be awkward too much, focusing too much on what I want to do and what I want to achieve, of course, I fall short of that. And of course, I make those exact mistakes that I'm trying to avoid. But if I focus on God, I know that I probably would have done better in those moments that I went through, and that I can and then I'll be able to overcome them even after making the mistakes. So I know that for myself. I know this thing, but I know I have to do better as well. It's easier said than done, but it just takes basically your mind. Your mind's a powerful tool, but it can be very easy to fall into negative thinking, negative patterns. You need to always, when you're falling into a bad train of thought, you have to catch that thought and recognize it, expose it, and then put it away and replace it with something better. You need to actually practice that. And the more you practice that every single day, the more you're facilitating better thoughts every day, the more you'll actually be able to overcome those things that you're dealing with, those fears that you're dealing with. And if you always put God in the forefront, the power and the possibility for your life are truly endless. So thank you for watching this episode of the 365 podcast. That's all I got to say for today. I hope that this was a good episode, that it can give you some framework, some idea, that again, then again, the world keeps spinning. Just because of your problems, just because of your pain, just because of your awkwardness, your difficulty, the world keeps spinning and things come and go, all situations come and go, all feelings will pass. Can you let those feelings pass as quick as the situation passed? And that can allow you to truly just keep going and keep making amazing things happen in your life. So thank you for watching this episode of the 365 Podcast. If you enjoyed it, I ask that you leave a like on the show, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, do all those great things, show your support, leave a comment letting me know what you thought of this episode. And of course, in any other way you can support the show, please do it. Watch some of the other great episodes I've made on the show. I leave them in the cards. I leave them in the description of every single episode. But that's all I got to say for today. Continue to glorify God every day throughout your life. Put Him first. Instead of the situation, put God first, and you will see just how many fruits you're able to bear with that faith. So thank you for watching this episode of the 365 Podcast. And as always, I will see you tomorrow for the next one.